Hello everyone, hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Nisi and this is Escaping Broke. On this channel, we talk money. On today's video, I really wanted to chat about poverty, how poverty is expensive, how being poor is extremely expensive, right? And I'm gonna start off with myself. And I wasn't raised po, but I was raised poor. Po is like, poor. But I was raised poor. I would consider myself being raised poor because I did have everything I needed. So that means I've never experienced homelessness, thank God. I've never experienced not having lights on, not having food, not having water, or not having a safe place to be. I was raised in a decent neighborhood. I didn't see any dead bodies. I didn't see any drug dealers. I didn't see anyone doing anything crazy. You know what I mean? But I went to school. I had my mom packed my lunch every morning. So I was okay, but it wasn't rich. And my parents are immigrants. They came to this country to build a better life. And that's what they did, And of course, when we're talking about poverty, it's a very deep subject, right? It's something that's very deep. And I know a lot of people say, well, even sometimes when I give tips, I'm like, stop spending money, stop doing this. But to escape poverty is very hard. It's very hard and it's very mentally taxing on the body and your mental. And it's a lot. This is not going to be like an advice video. This is more so going to be like a chit chat about how being poor is so expensive. And I was thinking to myself, when you are poor, you don't have the luxury to think about the future, right? I think thinking about the future or thinking about investing for the future and things of that nature, that's a luxury. When you're poor, you don't even have that. All you're thinking about is surviving for today. You're thinking about surviving for today. You're thinking about, what am I going to eat today? How am I going to get by just for today? And of course, poverty is a cycle. Sometimes it's a generational thing. Sometimes, grandma was poor, mom was poor, and now you're poor. So it is a cycle that you sometimes have to break. And especially if you don't have any financial literacy, it can be extremely hard, right? And I'm going to share a few ways on how I think poverty is expensive and how I've seen it, not only in my life, but also in my people's life that I know or people that I talk to. But especially like with the loans, guys, right? Let's just say you're going through a tough situation and you reach out to like a payday loan to get some money to pay your rent or to pay something that you need. And a lot of those times, a lot of those loan companies, they're very predatory. There's something called predatory lending when they are giving you high interest rates on the loan and they know you won't be able to pay it, and sometimes they can say, well, I'll give you this. You got to give us your car. And think about it. If you're poor, right? And you're going to a payday loan to borrow money to pay bills, and you're using your car as a collateral. Let's just say something happens where you can't pay. Now they're taking your car, right? Now they're taking away your only but they're taking away like one of your options to get to work. So if you guys take my car, how am I going to work? How am I going to go to work and pay you guys off? Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's just like being poor makes you desperate. You're put into positions that you would never. And some of us, we have the common sense. We're like, oh, a loan for 35% interest? That's ridiculous. Like, you have the common sense. You understand that you're getting a bad deal, but you're so desperate to the point that you have no choice. And you go ahead and get that loan and you're continually in a cycle and it's hard to escape. You know what I mean? So I definitely see that with those payday loans. And also being poor, when I say being poor is expensive, when you're poor, you get hit with more things, right? Any little inconvenience is not a little inconvenience. It's a big convenience for you when you're poor. Like, for example, let's just say you don't have any money in your account. You're paying an overdraft fee. That's $35. Or let's just say something happens where you had to overdraft your account. They're going to charge you an overdraft fee. They're going to charge you a return fee for something. And it's ridiculous. And on top of that, you have monthly maintenance fee if you don't have enough money. So it's like you're being penalized for being poor. No one has mercy on the poor. No one feels sorry for the poor. It's like, yeah, you're poor. You couldn't afford to pay for this. We're going to charge you $35 for going over. We're going to charge you oh, you don't have $1,500 or $1,000 in that account? Don't worry, we're going to charge you a maintenance fee. And when you think about it, it adds up, especially when you're poor. Every single quarter, dollar, dime, it counts. So when you're paying a bank $35 for an overdraft fee, and you're paying a $12 maintenance fee or a $6 maintenance fee, it adds up. And it's so unfair. That's why I try to preach about financial literacy on this channel. I mean, I'm documenting my journey, but I also try to encourage people to do better and take control of your money, or else your money will control you, right? And another way also is just interest. Let's just say you have credit cards, you're racking credit card debt because you can't afford to pay your bills or you can't afford to do certain things. And the interest rates on these credit cards are ridiculous. So you're paying interest on that debt every month. And guess what? Every single payment you make, all of that payment is not going to the principal. It's going to the interest. So that balance is still building up. It's unbelievable what people can actually get away with. Honestly, it's just ridiculous. Next thing I want to talk about is also, the stress of being poor, the stress that it takes, the mental toll that it takes on you when you are poor, because you're constantly worrying about money. You're constantly thinking about money. You're constantly stressing about money. And that can cause you to get sick because you're stressed about money. You're stressed about, where's my next dollar going to come from? Where's my meal going to come from? Especially if you have children. That's even 10 times worse, because you have to worry about yourself and also kids. It can be extremely stressful. And think about it. Let's just say you have a cavity, right? Let's just say you have a cavity is going to cost $135 to fill that cavity. If you have insurance, it might be a $15 copay. So let's imagine, perfect example, you don't have insurance, right? You're I don't have any insurance, so I have a cavity, I can't afford to get it fixed. So you wait. When you wait, that cavity is no longer a small cavity, it's a big cavity. It becomes a hole, it breaks, the tooth falls apart or whatever. You might need a root canal. And a root canal costs at least $1,000 or more. So it shows you, it's when you are poor, you don't have the opportunity to take care of the small stuff. It's all of the small stuff become big things. And when they become big things, they're even more expensive. And that destroys you financially and mentally, right? Also, being poor is time consuming. It is time consuming. Can you imagine, if you're poor, you can't afford to maybe have a car, you have to catch the bus to do basic things that would take someone 5 minutes or 15 minutes. It takes you longer because you have to take maybe multiple buses, or you have an unreliable car, or you have to maybe Uber somewhere. Let's just say if you Uber somewhere, you might have to take 2 different Ubers if it's somewhere that, what I'm saying? It's so much different stuff. Being poor is so expensive. It's just, I don't know, guys. It's heartbreaking, it really is. And another thing too, I noticed that a lot of us are not taught financial literacy in school. And the reason why I'm passionate about money is because I came from a family, like I said, my parents are not rich, but my parents, they did the best that they can, okay? For immigrants that came into this country. My parents are homeowners. They bought a house. I know about money and I've learned all these things about money. Seeing my parents, complain also. Even though my parents had positive traits about money, such as saving, such as not teaching us to rack debt, not having credit cards and things of that nature, but my parents still complain. I heard them complain about money. I heard my dad and my mom complain about money, even though I wasn't raised in absolute poverty, where I was going without the necessary things I needed, I still heard them complain about money. I still heard them that lack mentality, that scarcity mindset, them complaining about not having enough, or what are they going to do about this, or complaining whenever we say, hey, we want this, and they're complaining, well, rent is due, or the mortgage is due, or this is due. So I was raised hearing them complain about money, complain about not having enough. And as a young little girl, that really just instilled in me to never be in that position. So me and my obsession with becoming financially stable, it wasn't honestly birthed out of just, oh my God, money sounds cool, let me learn about it. No, it was because I'm scared to be poor. I'm scared to be extremely poor for the rest of my life. That is one of my biggest fears. to be poor and to not have anything, not to have any wealth, and not to be able to help others that are in need. That scares me. And my parents, my mom, when I was about 16 or 17, she took me to the bank and she opened my first bank account, and she deposited a nice amount of money in that account. And she was like, this is for you. I want you to manage it. And I also want you to bill upon it. So I had a job at 17. I was a cashier. I was working like 11 hours a week, whatever. I didn't make a lot, but she was like, you know what? I want you to save that money in times of need, an emergency. You save it for a car, save it for something. So that my mom did teach me how to be smart with money. And I'm grateful for that. But I still have that feeling, that uneasy feeling about money when it comes to not having enough. And that's why I said, if I ever get married, I'm definitely controlling the finance. And it's not that, I don't trust the person I'm going to get married to. Maybe it is, I don't know. But I just feel like we're living in different times. I just wouldn't feel comfortable just sitting around. Even if I have my own money, I can't sit around and not know what's going on in the finance. If I ever do get married, I don't know if I want to, but if I ever do get married, I will definitely have monthly money meetings or quarter meetings. I need to know what's going on in the finance. I need to know how we're doing. Are we investing? Where the money's going? How much we're spending? How much we're allocating for investing? How much are we giving away for charity? That's important to me. I want to get to a point in my life where I can give away. I can give back to those that are in need. So, a lot of financial literacy is not taught in school. So it's important if you have children to start teaching them. I don't have any kids, but I do have a little sister. She's 18 now. When she turned 16, I sat her down with a notebook and a calculator and a pen. And I told her to write down all her bills down and figure out how much money is going there. I speak to her. I talk to her about credit cards. I talk to her about saving and building wealth. If she wants to listen, great. If she don't, that's her problem. She'll deal with it later. And guys, being poor is just exhausting. So that's why my goal with this channel is to do the best that I can do to maybe inspire one person, if at that, just for you to take a serious look at your money and understand that this is serious, especially as we're getting older. You don't want to get to an age where you're in your 70s or your 80s and you don't have enough money or you're struggling or things of that nature. I think it's horrible to struggle in older years. And I remember, I'm going to wrap this up, but I remember talking to, when at my old job, I worked for a call center. I remember talking to this very nice young older lady, and she was telling me that she has no financial literacy. She said she's been married for years, and she was married for a long time. And she was telling me that her husband recently died, and she's like, I don't even know how to write a check. I don't know how to, I don't even know where our mortgage statement is. I don't know anything. I don't know how to pump gas. And I was just like, you know what? I know it's different times. She was an older lady. I know we're living in different times, but I want you, women especially, to get smart with your money. No matter if you're married to a provider or you're married to your husband that pays all the bills, and that's great, that's wonderful. We all would like that. But be smart about your money. Know how to write a check. I know we're living in different times, but still know how to write a check. Know where your money's going. Have an emergency account. Have your own money. Have a way of earning money. Have multiple streams of income, guys. Because we women, when we go through divorces, most of us end up poor because a divorce can destroy you financially. Right? So be smart. Have your own money. Know what you're doing with your money. Teach your children about money. Teach them about building wealth. Don't sit around and think money is just going to work out. No, it's not going to just work out. You have to work it out. You have to get serious. And that's all I wanted to say, guys. Just every day, even I know it's overwhelming, I know it's a lot of work, but every day, take time to look at your money, take time to go over your bank account statements, take time to go over things like